Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amanda Carlson, and I'm the Marketing Coordinator here at Advisicon. I'd like to welcome you all to today's webinar. Here at Advisicon, we're a group of authors, teachers, consultants, and technologists who are passionate about helping organizations learn, scale, and grow with a mix of methodology and technology to deliver results. We offer training from the Microsoft technologies such as Project, Office 365, Power BI, Visio, and SharePoint, as well as project management and methodology. With attending any of our training sessions, we offer PDUs as we are a registered education provider with the Project Management Institute. And at the close of today's session, I will give some instructions on how you can claim your PDUs and how to contact Advisicon with any questions you may have. Now, before we get started, I'd like to go over a few things so you know how to participate in today's event. If you'd please review the control panel, that should be on the top right of your screen. The audience is muted during this session, so in order to ask questions, you will need to submit them in the questions window of the control panel. This webinar will be recorded and uploaded to the Advisicon YouTube channel. For those who could not attend today's session live, please note that any questions or comments submitted will not display in the recording, nor will any of your personal information be shared. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Michael Rimmer, Advisicon's project scheduler. So without further ado, I'll hand this over to him and we can get started.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Like you said, my name is Michael Rimmer. I'm a project scheduler here at Advisicon. I've been working with Microsoft products for over 10 years. I'm a Microsoft certified professional, and I'm an experienced trainer. I've had the pleasure of being a trainer focused solely on Microsoft products for the last year, and I really love working with technology and people. That's one of my passions in life. Today, I want to talk to you guys about Office 365 and the difference between, or using the difference between online version versus the desktop. And so today's agenda is, what is Office 365? Getting that strong foundation is really important. Then we're going to talk about, what is your goal? What are you planning out, and why would you need to choose between online versus desktop? After that, I'm going to go into a demo of using Microsoft Office 365 online version and kind of show you a few subtle differences between the online version versus the desktop. At the end of today's webinar, there'll be time for questions and answers. So let's get started. What is Office 365? Well, at its bare minimum, Office 365 is the subscription service model for Microsoft Office applications, specifically for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. There's more that comes with it. It offers you all of the premium versions of the software within the Microsoft Office suite. And with that, it comes with all of the updates as they come out. So one of the really great reasons of purchasing the subscription software of Office 365 is that previously you would have to buy a CD from the store or online, get it, put the CD into your computer, install it, and then you just had it on that computer. And you would have to purchase the new suite or the new software updates as they come out with like Office 2010 or Office 2013. With Office 365, you don't have to worry about any of that. It automatically updates as the updates are released from Microsoft. You also don't need to go to Microsoft's website, download the latest update, install it for you. Microsoft Office 365 does all of that automatically. One of the really cool options is Office 365 really allows you to co-author and collaborate real time with other users of Office 365. So if you wanted to like share a document and both of you are working on the same Word document or working on the same PowerPoint presentation or working on the same Excel workbook, you guys can make edits and changes at the same time, working together in tandem. That's really great. With those updates being released constantly throughout the year and always being on the latest version of Microsoft Office, you don't have to worry about it being supported or losing support for that particular version. So if you had Microsoft Office 2013, Microsoft doesn't offer support for that anymore. And Microsoft Office 2019 was released in late of last year, September, and they will no longer support Office 2016 as of October of 2020. So those are some things that you would have to think about when using Office 365 versus just using the Office desktop software. With all that being said, Office 365 is really designed to grow with your organization. As as your organization grows and continues life, you don't have to continually buy new software, but just not even worry about it. No hassle, just get all those updates and continue to move forward. So with that being said, let's talk about what your goal is and why you would want to use Office Online or desktop. And I think I've kind of boiled these down to three very simple questions. The first one being, what device are you using? Are you using a mobile phone? Are you using a tablet, a laptop, or a desktop? I mean, are you using a Windows phone, Android, or iPhone? No matter what you use, you can always use the browser for Microsoft Office 365 online. This gives you the functionality that you need to go and access Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. And you don't have to worry about downloading the correct Mac version of Microsoft Office, or worry about, if my phone is supported, you can just use your phone's browser. And you can even use any browser. You can use Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge. All of those work for Microsoft Office 365 online. And the second question here, I know it seems really, really simple and silly, but really ask yourself, are you going to be working online or offline? Are you working at like a school or university or a library or at your organization, and you just want to go to the next tab on your browser and edit this document real quick? Or are you at home and you're working offline, kind of getting away from the internet and the busyness of life, and you just want to get heads down on a project and work offline? You might want to use your desktop application for that. And now I think the real meaty part of this question of what is your goal in using Office 365 online or using the desktop application is, what features do you need to use? Are you going to be using normal, like just kind of standard out of the box features, or are you like really looking for in-depth work, kind of nitty-gritty? I want to really dive deep into Microsoft tool and develop something that I have a specific idea for. I think this is a good idea good way to bring in the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, some of you might know, which is essentially 80% of results come from 20% of the creation or the source. And while the percentages might not add up always to 100% or anything, that's a good foundation for what Office 365 Online has. 80% of most of what you ever want to do can be done using Microsoft Office 365 Online. Now, the online versions have been updated for a long time, for the past several years, and they have been fine-tuned and really brought up to standard that it's way more than 20% of the functionality of your desktop application, which is great. And I'm going to get into showing you kind of the subtle differences that there are in just a little bit. But really asking yourself, what do I need to use? How in depth do I need to do that is a real good question to ask yourself before using the software or deciding which software you want to use. So I want to go into a quick demo of comparison using the Office 365 online and the desktop applications, because there's quite those in-depth features, those questions that you might ask yourself of like, oh, hey, I really want to do this particular thing, might not be available when using Microsoft Office online. So here is Microsoft Office 365 Online PowerPoint, or PowerPoint Online. PowerPoint Online gives you pretty much everything. As you can see it here, it looks very similar to, this is the desktop version of PowerPoint. You have the ribbon up here, you have all of your editing software, editing tools, and here's PowerPoint Online. It looks very similar. The ribbon looks almost the same. However, there's a couple of key features that you can't use. You cannot use the zoom feature, which I don't know if everybody's familiar with it, but in PowerPoint desktop version, you have the ability to put a different slide on this current slide where you can click on it and then it will zoom in or transfer over to a different slide. So an example being, if I wanted to click on this image right here, it would take me to the next slide. You don't have the ability to find and replace. That's actually a common theme throughout all of the online versions of Office 365. You do have the ability to Control F and find, or whatever the shortcut is for your particular device, but you don't have that find and replace command. Another quick thing is design and theming. So like you have all of the out-of-the-box themes here if you want to create a new PowerPoint presentation, but the variants are here, but you don't have the ability to get down and choose like very specifically what you want. You just have to work with the out-of-the-box themes. If I was to go back to the PowerPoint desktop tool, if I wanted to go design, I can click on, this theme right here, and I have all these different variants, but I wanted to change the colors to whatever one I want, or even choose my own. I have that option. I can change my fonts. I can add different effects or background styles. This is an option that's not available in PowerPoint Online. And like I said, this is kind of a good representation of that Pareto principle, where I don't really need to customize my theme every single PowerPoint presentation that I do in a very specific way. But sometimes I do just need to make a PowerPoint online and I want to collaborate with other people through this online tool. We can work on it together. There are a lot of different options or features that differ between the PowerPoint Online and PowerPoint Desktop version of Office 365, but those features are viewable through the Microsoft website, and we will put a link on there when we upload this to YouTube down in the description. The next application I want to go over is Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word is probably the most common and well-known tool that Microsoft has produced. And as you can see here, it looks almost exactly like your desktop tool of Microsoft Word. So if I was to click on this, we bring this up, we see that all of the options are here. One of the main differences that Microsoft Word Online does not have is the ability to show the grid lines or the ruler. And that's actually something that's very important to me personally. I like to see the ruler up here and to be able to move and to edit my document the way that I want it to be. As you can see, there's no ruler up here. I just have the option of writing out my document the way that it would be as a normal paper. Another thing that Microsoft Online is kind of limited in, Microsoft Word particularly, are the views option. If I click on the view tab in the ribbon right here, you can see that I have some options, but really not a lot. Whereas if I go to Microsoft Word on the desktop version and I click on view, you can see all of these different options that I have. I have the ability to split or to arrange my paper the way that the windows I want it to see. I have the ability to put the papers side by side if I want to, with the page movement. Those are sometimes really helpful features when I'm writing a paper or writing an article or a blog, and that's something that's not particularly available right here. However, a really cool view option that if you just need to write a paper and you just want to start from a blank page and you don't really need to customize in that nitty-gritty way that I described earlier, you can go up here and click on the Simplified Ribbon, and it kind of just helps you get into that mode of, hey, I'm just going to start writing and I don't want to see a bunch of options. I just want to get up and go. And you can do that. It just gives you the most commonly used tools right here. And I actually kind of like it. I like the way that it looks. Like I said before, Find and Replace is not available on this online tool, Word Online. And if you were to create like a table, insert table, you don't really have any of the additional functions down here that you would see on the desktop application. You can't really edit the table style, the cell size. You can't just, you're kind of limited in what you want. You can just create a table and that's what you're at. I mean, you can move them like this, but you are limited to that very specific, to not putting it in a very specific way. And one of the last things that I have written down that I wanted to share with you guys is you can't really crop pictures, which is kind of unfortunate. And sometimes you want to input a picture into your blog or an article that you're writing and you just can't crop it. So that might have to be something that you do with a desktop application or even with some other application altogether. The next tool that I want to talk about is Microsoft Excel. Such a fantastic tool, and I think that they did such a great job on their Excel Online version of Office 365. I think that the Microsoft Excel Online version most replicates the desktop version than any other tool, really. The only thing that Microsoft Excel Online doesn't have is the ability to get data. And it has all the other functions that you want to do. Some functions particularly work differently. An example being like if you wrote the today function, it would pull to the today's date, or if you did now, it would pull the date and time of the server instead of your actual computer's date and time. So that's something to be wary of. But if you were to, you can't really pull data. So let me pull up Microsoft Excel. As you see, if I click on data here, you have get data. You can pull data from all different kinds of sources and make those wonderful reports or tables or analyses or whatever. And you can even transform that data with text to columns, rotating or pivoting. You flash fill, you move a column from like the left, the rows into the columns or the columns into the rows. You have all kinds of like relationships and all that you can do with Microsoft Excel Desktop that is not available on the online. And that's kind of like what I mentioned before also with the Pareto principle. I don't know if you really need to do that if you're just accessing a workbook online. If you just want to create a new workbook for whatever purpose, if you need to do that kind of in-depth analysis or in-depth use of this tool, it's way better to just use the Microsoft Desktop application. And the last one I kind of want to talk about, but I'm not going to show you too much of, is Outlook. Outlook is a hugely complex tool that kind of gets put off as just as an email and calendar tool. But one of the things that Outlook really does well is the ability to have rules set up. And you can still do rules for Outlook through office.com, but it doesn't allow you to like stylize the subject line or to stylize the way that your inbox looks in the particular way that you want it, or that you want incoming emails to be. It does have rules where if an email comes from a particular person or a particular email address, it can be sorted into a folder, but you do not have the ability to change the way that they look, which, I mean, if I pulled up my email right now, you would be able to see like a bunch of different colors based on who sent me what email or whether or not I flagged it and all of that information. So that's stuff that I really find helpful, and that's why I use my desktop application for Outlook way more often than I use the office.com or Outlook online tool. However, when I am at university or if I'm at just using my phone, I very much find it helpful using the office.com Outlook feature because I can see my email so quickly and just not have to have that application installed on my phone. Some people like having the application on your device, but I really find that it's helpful to just kind of get that quick glance and be able to quickly respond and not have to have that app or installed on my phone. Everybody's has their own preference and to each their own, but that's just the way that I personally like it. So with that being said, I mean, there's a lot more. Like we have Microsoft OneNote, which you can use online or on your application. They have with Office 365 Online, you get access to Planner and To Do and all of that. But the Office 365 desktop applications that I went over today are mainly Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And if your organization is interested in, oh, I changed my theme. Let me go ahead and change that back. But if you or your organization are interested in getting a demo or a trial version of Microsoft Office 365, then please give us a call or an email at contact@advisicon.com. We are actually, like I said, a cloud service provider with Microsoft, which means that we can be the intermediary for you and kind of get you hooked up with the proper licensing that you need. We can be a ticket submitter for you where Microsoft will then contact you back and kind of leave us out of it, but we can just make sure that you get what you need if you're interested in any of that at absolutely free, no upcharge. But yeah, so if you're interested in a trial at all, please give us an email contact. Thank you very much. Amanda, were there any questions at all?
Yes, we got quite a few actually. So we'll start with this one. It says, can Office 366, sorry, let me try that again. Can Office 365 Online only be used online, or does the software work offline as well?
Well, that's one of the major differences. Office 365 Online can only be used online, but if you have Office 365 and you've purchased a subscription, you will have the ability to download the desktop application where you can then use it offline. Yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Then there's another one here wondering if there's any issues using it in Chrome.
No, actually, everything that I just showed you, I was actually using Chrome. So I use Chrome for most of my tools, most of my internet needs, and Microsoft Office Online, Office 365 Online works wonderfully with Chrome.
Great. How many devices can I have Office 365 installed on?
Oh, that's a great question. So when you purchased an Office 365 subscription, you can install your account up to 5 different devices. So, work, home, laptop, desktop, phone, tablet, up to 5.
Okay, another one here says, do I keep control of my documents?
That's a great question. Yeah. So whenever you're using like an online software, it can be sometimes really questionable as to like, oh, hey, I'm putting it up into the cloud. Is this really mine or is this Microsoft's now? Well, Microsoft has very strictly said like anything that you use and you store in your OneDrive is your document. It is yours to own. While it's using their online storage, it is your own document.
I think that storage question transitions nicely to this one. It says, how much OneDrive storage do I get with Office 365?
Yeah, so bare minimum, every Office 365 subscription or licensing plan comes with 1 terabyte of storage. If you are using the home licensing plan or subscription model for your home, you get 1 terabyte of storage minimum, and then for every person in your household, you get an additional 1 terabyte of storage, up to 6 terabytes.
Great. And then, can Office 365 run easily on a small netbook?
Oh, I'm wondering if they're asking about the desktop application. If you're asking about online, absolutely. A small netbook can, just run it from your browser because you're actually not using the netbook's resources to run the application. If you're asking about the desktop software, I would have to know a little bit more information about the netbook, but I don't see why it couldn't run like Microsoft Word or Excel. If you are using something that is kind of older or like really like a small compact laptop or netbook, it might be, better for you to just use the online version, so that way you're not, the slowdown or the choke point isn't your hardware.
And what are the system and hardware requirements for Office 365?
That is a great question. And that is actually something that I do not know, but I can give you the exact specifications of what is needed or required for Office 365 in an email after this webinar.
Yeah, that's a good point. For any questions that we don't get to today that we aren't able to address, we will email you directly with those answers. So you can feel free to submit questions at any time for all of our webinars, not just today's, and we will follow up with you.
Great. Is that all the questions, Amanda?
Yeah, I'm filtering and trying to group questions together because we're getting a lot of the same kind of topical ideas here.
Okay.
One question we had was, if you have an Office 365 home subscription, can you also have a personal or university subscription?
Yes, you can, but you would have to use two different emails. So personally, I have a university subscription that my school has given me, and then I also have a home and a work one. So, but each one requires two different or different email for it to be based off of. But yes, it is yes, it is available and optional.
And then
Not gonna lie, it does get a little confusing.
And then going back to that Chrome question, we had a follow-up with, which web browsers does Office 365 work with?
I know for a fact that it works with Chrome, Firefox, and Microsoft Edge. Internet Explorer does work, but it's not fully supported anymore. Internet Explorer is not really supported at all. So I would kind of lean towards Microsoft Edge or Chrome or Firefox, those three.
Okay, great. That looks like all the time that we have today. But again, if you've submitted questions and we didn't get to them, we will email you with your answers. And we thank you all for attending today's webinar and welcome your questions and feedback. For more information, you can email us at contact@advisicon.com. Once you exit today's webinar, you will receive a survey on the presentation. You will need to complete and submit this survey in order to receive your PDUs. From there, you will receive a follow-up email within 2 business days with your PDU information. If you are watching this recording on YouTube or another social media platform, please be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future uploads. On behalf of Advisicon, Michael, and myself, thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you participate in future webinars. Have a great day, everyone.